Thank you for joining me in regard to assessing your mushrooms and how best to preserve them, or whether that's even possible. So I've got four different stages of mushrooms here, I guess you could say. I've got very dry, medium, kind of wet, to a few days older than you'll see coming at my booth at market. So these guys right here have kind of sat on a bag in my mushroom house. They haven't been picked in time, and they've both flared out, which you can see as the mushroom flares out, and they've yellowed as they're drying on the bag inside the mushroom house. So these are mushrooms you wouldn't see at my booth at market. I'm not going to sell these, but I'll absolutely eat them, or I can dry them. In order to preserve these mushrooms, I'm going to talk about that at a different time when I talk about actually like drying mushrooms to preserve dried mushrooms. But if I were to pick these out in the wild, I would eat these that day. Okay, otherwise I'm not going to really bother saving these unless I'm going to try to dry them. So I'm going to put these away for a moment. And I'm going to talk about these other three stages of mushrooms that you would likely find on my booth at market, okay? And I'm going to start with the easiest to preserve first. And the easiest to preserve is this really dried one, okay? You can, if you could feel this, you could feel it. It's going to be, you can see I bounce it. It's very firm. These mushrooms are very firm. Their texture is very strong. They're going to preserve almost no matter what you do. So if you take these and you leave them in a paper bag in your fridge, that's not the best choice, but they'll be all right for a few days. If you took them and you trimmed them up, just taking the sawdust off or the bases off, and you put them in a Pyrex bowl and put a little paper towel over it, which I'll show in a minute in my next video when I show the kind of the outcomes after I talk about it, they'll be fine for maybe a week or two actually. This next one is kind of what you're going to see a lot at market, okay? It's a little more flimsy, it's dry feeling, the texture is really nice, but it's not these solid blue oysters. This is a summer white variety. Summer white varieties are just more fragile by nature, whereas the warm blue oysters are less fragile. So this one is one that you'd want to eat sooner and you'd want to preserve definitely in a little more protection or a little more care than you would these guys. For this, what you'd want to do is, again, trim each individual mushroom off with scissors, or you could pull it, but scissors are going to just be a little less bruising. And then you're going to want to put them in a Pyrex bowl with paper towels in between the layers. So those paper towels are absorbing the moisture from those mushrooms instead of letting that moisture kind of congeal on those mushrooms and hasten decomposition or decaying. So what you're doing is you're basically preserving that mushroom by withdrawing the moisture, the extra moisture from it, and keeping it in a very cool temperature, okay, like your refrigerator, okay? And these guys, if you do that, can actually last almost as long as these. They'll last for a couple of weeks that way, especially if you're, crazy enough to take an individual mushroom, wrap it in a paper towel, and wrap it in a plastic bag. That will last for quite a while if you kept changing the paper towel out, but I don't know anyone that would do that. So what I do, and I'll give you, like I said, for the other one, an example in a moment, is I put these in a very similar preservation method as these, only with more moisture wicking paper towels. The last variety, which you're going to find, is again summer white, which is a fragile variety, but has a little more moisture in it. So this may have been closer to my humidifier. This may have been just sitting in my fridge for a day longer than these. It could be so many different things. But these guys right now, what you're going to want to do is that same method if you're going to preserve them, but they actually just should go ahead and be eaten. I would take these, put them in my fridge in a Pyrex bowl with a paper towel wrapping the bunch for, anywhere from 12 to 24 hours and eat these. If I don't do that, they're going to start degrading because they are just moist. So these guys are the ones, when you come to my booth and I talk to you, I say, hey, let's go ahead and make sure that you eat those in the next day or so. But that doesn't mean that you should leave them in the paper bag. They should, again, be removed from the paper bag that you get them in and put in a glass bowl or a ceramic bowl with something that wicks moisture. Anyhow, I hope this is helpful. I'm going to show you the next stage of each one when I actually put them in the Pyrex bowls and preserve them. And then I may go ahead and take an experiment and see how long they last the ways I've shown and do another video on that.